At this time, I will demonstrate this movement for you. As I'm demonstrating this movement for you, pay attention to the lower portion of my body, what is happening from the waist down. While demonstrating this movement, I will demonstrate the actions of the entire fourth element with the exception of the guidon bearer. Column half right, hatch! I will demonstrate this movement for you again. As with the last time, pay attention to the lower portion of my body, what is happening from the waist down. However, this time when I demonstrate this movement, I will be demonstrating and representing the actions of the first, second, as well as third elements. Column half right, hatch! To execute this movement, you must meet some requirements. One of the first requirements that you must meet is that you must be marching at the position of attention. Another requirement is that this movement be conducted in a column formation, as well as being conducted at close or normal interval. The most important requirement that you must meet is that this movement has to be executed at a cadence of quick time. A cadence of quick time is 100 to 120 beats or steps per minute. Once you have met these requirements, specifically you're marching at the position of attention, you will hear a set of commands. Those commands being column half right and march. Column half right is your preparatory command and march is your command of execution. Both of these commands will be given as the heel of the right foot strikes the ground. Once the preparatory command of column half right is given again as the heel of the right foot strikes the ground, you will mentally prepare yourself but continue to march. The very next time the heel of the right foot strikes the ground, the command of execution of march will be given. On the command of execution of march, the fourth element leader and only the fourth element leader will take one more full 24-inch step with the left foot. As the weight of the body comes forward onto the ball of the left foot, they will pivot 45 degrees to the right with coordinated arm swing, taking one 24-inch step with the right foot. Beginning with the left foot, the fourth element leader will begin taking 12-inch steps. Now that you're familiar with the actions of the fourth element leader, we will talk in depth about what the actions of the remaining individuals in that fourth element are. On the command of execution, the remaining individuals, now that we are familiar with the actions of the fourth element leader, we will talk in depth about the actions of the remaining individuals in the fourth element. Again, the command of execution will be given as the heel of the right foot strikes the ground. On the command of execution of march, The remaining individuals in the fourth element will march forward until the approximate pivot point of their element leader. Once the remaining individuals in the fourth element reach the approximate pivot point of the fourth element leader, they will pivot in the following manner. As the weight of the body comes forward onto the ball of their left foot, they will pivot 45 degrees to the right with coordinated arm swing, taking one 24-inch step with the right foot. Beginning with the left foot, the remaining individuals in the fourth element will take 12-inch steps. While taking these 12-inch steps, the remaining individuals in the fourth element will reestablish their distance as well as their cover behind the individual directly in front of them. The actions of the first, second, as well as third element leader will all be identical. They will all execute the following actions at exactly the same time. Again, these individuals will be marching at the position of attention, and we are already familiar with what their actions are to be for the preparatory command. Again, the command of execution will be given as the heel of the right foot strikes the ground. The first, second, and third element leaders will take one more 24-inch step with their left foot. And as the weight of the body comes forward onto the ball of their left foot, they will pivot 45 degrees to the right with coordinated arm swing, stepping out with a full 24-inch step with their right foot. The first, second, and third element leaders will then take as many 24-inch steps as is necessary to come abreast of the element leader that was to their right prior to the pivot. Once the first, second, or third element leaders are abreast of the element leader who was to their right prior to the pivot, they will begin to take 12-inch steps. While taking these 12-inch steps, the first, second, and third element leaders will reestablish their dress to the right as well as their interval. Once all element leaders are abreast with one another, all four element leaders will automatically step out with full 24-inch steps. The actions of the first, second, and third element leaders are very similar to the actions of all remaining individuals within the first, second, and third elements. The remaining individuals in the first, second, and third elements on the command of execution, again given as the heel of the right foot strikes the ground, those remaining individuals will march forward to the approximate pivot point of their element leader. Once the remaining individuals in the first, second, and third element reach the approximate pivot point of their element leaders, they will take one more 24-inch step with the left foot. And as the weight of the body comes forward onto the ball of their left foot, they will pivot 45 degrees to the right with coordinated arm swing, stepping out with a 24-inch step. The remaining individuals in the first, second, and third elements will continue to take 24-inch steps until they are abreast of the individual who is directly to their right prior to the pivot. Once they are abreast of the individual who was to their right prior to the pivot, they will automatically take 12-inch steps. While taking these 12-inch steps, the remaining individuals in the first, second, and third elements will reestablish their dress as well as their cover. Once all individuals that are remaining in the first, second, and third elements are abreast of one another, all four of them within all four elements, all individuals will step out automatically in a full 24-inch step. Earlier I stated that the exception to performing this movement was the guidon bearer. At this time, I'm going to demonstrate for you the actions of the guidon bearer during this movement. Guidon bearer, proceed up here at this time. Hand me the staff. Alright, you're going to position yourself behind me, you understand?
Yes, sir.
You're going to take one step each time that I say the word step, pivoting as is appropriate. You understand me? Do you have any questions? Remember, the requirements for this movement, one in particular, is that you be marching at the position of attention. Step. The guidon bearer will execute this movement in the exact same manner as the fourth element leader. Pivot. Once the guidon bearer and the fourth element leader have executed this movement simultaneously, the fourth element leader, remember, is automatically going to take 12-inch steps. While the fourth element leader is taking 12-inch steps, the guidon bearer will take as many 24-inch steps as is necessary to get ahead of the fourth element leader. Step. 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 Once the guidon bearer is ahead of the fourth element leader, he will then pivot 45 degrees to the right in the following manner. As the weight of the body comes forward onto the ball of the left foot, the guidon bearer will pivot 45 degrees to the right with coordinated arm swing, stepping out with a full 24-inch step. Step. At this time, the guidon bearer will take as many 24-inch steps as is necessary to get in front of the fourth element leader. Step. 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 Once the guidon bearer is in front of the fourth element leader, the guidon bearer will then pivot 45 degrees to the left in the following manner. As the weight of the body comes forward onto the ball of the right foot, the guidon bearer will pivot 45 degrees to the left with coordinated arm swing, stepping out with a full 24-inch step. Step. The guidon bearer will then conform to the same size of steps as the fourth element leader. Step. 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 Take a staff, rejoin your flight. At this time, I'm going to review my lesson plans. As I do so, formulate any questions that you may have for me.